Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to Vel'koz, the Eye of the Void. If this is your first time on the channel, what we're going to do is we're going to look at his biography and story first. We'll move on to any little, we'll take a look at Vel'koz's gameplay. We'll look at any trailers or anything that he possibly might be in. We'll take a look at his skins, take a look at the wiki, and then we'll end off with voice lines at the very end of the video. And I'll have that all chaptered out at the very bottom if you want to go ahead and fast forward to any of those parts. Now, Vel'koz this is going to be an interesting one, guys. You know, we haven't really done too many Void champions, to be honest with you. And the ones that we have really were like, you know, like for example, Bel'Veth was somebody that, I don't know, was a little bit more, I don't know. There was more going on with Bel'Veth than possibly Vel'koz. I actually don't know what's going on in Vel'koz, so I'm going into this super blind. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive in here. I don't know what we're going to end up getting. I don't even know how much content there is for Vel'koz. Besides, I do know that there is a biography and story, but that's it, guys. So let's, you know, grab a snack, grab a drink. We're going to dive in here. Okay, Vel'koz can speak. I also didn't even know, like, I'm going to be honest. It says, only by deconstruction is truth revealed. That's, you know, hold on. He might be cooking there. He or she, I actually don't know what Vel'koz is, gender-wise. They. Role is mage, region the void. That very much so makes sense. And our related champions are Kha'Zix, Cho'Gath, Kog'Maw, and Rek'Sai, which we have not reacted to any of these. We almost reacted to Kha'Zix because we did the Rengar reaction, and I thought about doing the Kha'Zix one right after, but we did not do that. All right, the paragraph says, it is unclear if Vel'koz was the first Voidborn to emerge on Runeterra, but there has certainly never been another to match his level of cruel, calculating sentience. Oh, okay, I'm intrigued already. While his kin devour or defile everything around them, he seeks instead to scrutinize and study the physical realm and the strange warlike beings that dwell there, for any weakness the void might exploit. But Vel'koz is far from a passive observer, striking back at threats with deadly plasma or by disrupting the very fabric of the world itself. Okay, I mean, I'm kind of already in on Vel'koz here. Let's learn more by looking at the biography. To truly understand the horror that is Vel'koz, one must first know of the Watchers and how they were blinded to the mortal realm. Beyond the material plane, outside and somehow below it, lies the unknowable abyss. It is the realm of the void, where no mortal or immortal creature may ever walk. It is not necessary to know how such a place ever came to be, nor why, only that it did. The void is eternal, the void consumes all. In that place, in the cold, endless dark, all is equal and empty. For timeless eons, there was purity in that fact. There was peace, if such a term could have any meaning there. Then something changed, not in the void realm, but elsewhere. It was existence, it was something. Where before there had been nothing, and its mere presence scraped against the vast, cold, formless entities that drifted in the blackness. Before this, they had not even been fully aware of their own sentience, and yet now they knew that they could not tolerate the presence of this other place, this other realm of mercurial, overwhelming creation. The entities watched, they scrutinized. And soon enough, the Watchers found themselves being scrutinized in return. The tiny mortal minds that reached out to them were insignificant, little more than fleeting motes of light at the very edges of the abyss. Yet in them, the Watchers saw a chance to invade the material realm, to destroy it, to silence the intolerable pulsing of reality beyond the void. The boldest of them tore open the veil and hurled themselves upward, only to be horribly disoriented by the sudden shift between the abyss and the corporeal, linear nature of reality. In an instant, there was time and heat and pain. Oh. Then there was only cold. The way was shut, and dozens of the Watchers were trapped in the liminal space between two realms, frozen in the moment of transition. Those that remained in the void recoiled. They had no concept of what had happened, yet they knew they had been betrayed. And so they adapted. Reaching into the material realm, the Watchers took from the crude matter that comprised it, shaping, corrupting, and imbuing it with consciousness. These constructs were the first of the Voidborn, and would be their master's eyes and ears sent forth into the nightmare of existence to watch, listen, and learn. Among them, one stands apart. Okay, so Vel'koz literally being their eyes, I'm assuming. As perhaps the oldest surviving Voidborn, certainly existing the longest outside of the abyss, he has been known by countless names to those unfortunate enough to encounter him. Thousands of years before Acathia unleashed the void in battle, the primitive cultures of Shurima feared the devil Vel'koz, who crept forth from the underworld to steal the dreams of wiser men. Though his name has no literal translation in the modern tongue, it equates roughly as to understand by unmaking. Okay, that goes back to his quote. His insatiable hunger for knowledge has led Vel'koz across the world to its highest peaks and darkest depths. Cunning and methodical, he has quietly watched entire civilizations rise, stagnate, and decay, spent centuries combing the ocean floor for its secrets, even scrying the movements of the stars in the heavens above him. He carries all of this knowledge back to the great rifts in the fabric of Runeterra, so that the Watchers might know what he knows, and will annihilate without hesitation any mortal who stands in his path. For the void is eternal, and it will consume us all. Yeah, okay. I mean, Vel'koz is honestly all of these things. Eyes, ears, whatever, right? And he's just gaining knowledge on the mortal realm. Okay, man, I am super intrigued by Vel'koz just by like the mysteriousness of him, right? Like oldest Voidborn, what exactly is he actually doing? Does he what is he thinking in his mind? Like, I'm so curious what's going on here. All right, so our story is called A Different Hunger. With a kiss to my wife and resting my spear against my shoulder, I joined my fellows as we left the village. The morning was new, dawn stretching through the thick forest of Tokogol as the 6 of us made our way to the watch point by a worn dirt path. We were traveling light as our vigil would only last until the next moon before another band of spearmen took our place. Tokogol shared borders with Noxus, and its increasing belligerence of late had stirred the house lords to ensure that all of their spears were honed. Our journey was short and uneventful, a soldier's dream. The better part of a half-day's march brought us within sight of the outpost, and we pointed as the signal fire was lit, welcoming us with a column of thin, white smoke. The mood among my comrades was light, the easy talk of bonded brothers and neighbors. Though our duty was to watch the frontier in search of any sign of it, war in Tokogol was a distant thought. When we arrived, we found the gates to the stockade open and unbarred, yet not broken or forced. An odd feeling crept over us, like a chill dancing up our spines. I could see it in the others just as surely as I felt it in myself. We formed a tiny shield wall, 2 ranks of 3 men, and entered the stockade expecting to find slaughter, ruin, and destruction, with signs of Noxus for all to see. But we found none of this. What we discovered was the picture of an outpost no different than any other. The fires had crackled down to embers beneath cooking pots that were still full, clothes hung drying, and the lanterns were still on their poles from the night before. We looked at each other in alarm and confusion. It was as if our comrades had simply disappeared. What could have happened here? Whispered Bell. Our wall straightened and broke as we searched the outpost for any sign of life. Could they have been captured? Asked Ulrich. I approached the wall of the stockade. A stripe of the timber was burnt blacker than pitch. I reached toward it, and the barest touch of my fingertips sent it crumbling, revealing a crater of smooth wood underneath. The others found similar marks across the camp, though none of us could fathom how they could have been made. A cry sent us all back into a warrior's crouch. Come quick! It was Afron. We ran to him, finding him standing over a body. It's Halloran, he said, looking to us, the tanner's boy. The young man was pale, lying fetal on the ground. We saw no sign of battle on him, no blood or wounds. I drew my knife. Sinking to my haunches, I brought the blade beneath Halloran's nose. The day was cold, and the shallow puffs of breath clouded the steel in a slow, stilted rhythm. He yet lives, I said, reaching for his shoulder. We leapt away as soon as I'd rolled him onto his back. Halloran's eyes were open, yet there was nothing there. From what we could tell, he was conscious, but his right eye simply stared up at the sky, empty of light. That was not what we had recoiled from. By the gods, Ulrich breathed. Afron spat to avert evil, and we joined him. Where Halloran's left eye had been, I was going to ask about the left eye, only a dark pit remained. I had seen enough battle in my time to know the telltales of a spear or blade, but no weapon I knew could have made such a wound. It was too clean, too precise for battle's disordered frenzy. No pain marked the boy's face from the horrific injury. What could have done this to him? Bell demanded. Some beast? A plague? We shrank back from the body at the thought. No, Kerr frowned, his hand straying to the satchel of herbs and poultices at his waist. No sign of festering. This wasn't disease. Find the others, ordered Bell, now. One by one, we found them. These were men we knew, men of our village who sold fish and hammered steel. All bore the same wound to their left eye, all reduced to the same catatonic state. They appeared almost serene and all the more horrifying for it. Are you telling me Vel'koz is just stealing people's left eye? What's happening here? Does he gain knowledge from their eye or something? Afron looked to Bell. What do? We must give warning, said Ulrich. Of what? Asked Kerr. We have no idea what is happening here. They argued. Voices clashed and overlapped. Above it all, I noted the smell of smoke in the air. Wait. The others stopped, looking back at me. I swallowed. If they are all in this state, I pointed back to the signal fire behind us, then who lit the beak? Ulrich was in the air before we knew what was happening. A blinding flash stole my sight, but I glimpsed a huge darkened shape against it. Oaths, prayers, and curses filled the air from my comrades' lips. They were silenced by a crack like a bullwhip, followed by an overwhelming fizzing shriek. Oh, that sounds scary, dude. All right, when I could see clearly again, I was on the ground. I looked down to see my legs splayed, broken. Other warriors, my brothers and friends, lay staring up at the sky above. I heard only one other voice and turned. I could only watch as Afron, a youth of barely 16, struggled beneath the monster. Bathed in harsh violet light, he writhed as one of its appendages sank into his skull through his eye. His scream stopped as he became a mere husk like all the others. Then the monster turned its baleful gaze in my direction. Oh my god, this is terrifying. In an instant, it was looming over me. I looked up into that single swollen eye and sensed a hunger beyond imagining. A hunger not of flesh, but something far deeper. My soul teetered on the edge of this abyss, its merciless hunger pulling. No. I am Hennis Kadarn, a warrior and a spear of Tokugal. I refused to give it the satisfaction of my cries, even as its tentacle knifed down through my eye. There was no pain. Oh, and then we have bold. Here we go. I'm assuming this is Vel'koz's voice or whatever. As I work, the analysis can inflict physical pain should I desire it, but that is not critical here. I have learned much of pain and its uses. This one's information is precious, as all knowledge is. A settlement, interactions, castes, a particular female of the species, and offspring. This one resists my analysis of those, but it is a simple thing to overcome. With nothing more to consume, I travel here to disseminate what I have collected. The rift beneath me is a conduit for information to be passed into the true realm. The creatures that inhabit this world have designated our domain as the void. Such curious poetry these entities weave, a curiosity that illustrates how far my task is from completion. A universe of knowledge surrounds me, of great power and distant lands, and I shall collect it all. I offer this information now and all of the rest to come. Accept, consume, learn. All right. You know what? Vel'koz is pretty scary. I like this. We've gotten some of these before, like these stories where it's from some random person's POV. Like I think the most recent one I can think of is like Elise, you know, yeah, man, they'll do a POV of somebody that's having to runs into the champion that I'm reacting to. And it is just like horrifying, right? Yeah, this is what we're getting in this story, and I think it's a great way of telling a story because you get to really see what Vel'koz is to like a normal person in the world of Runeterra, and that is how horrifying Vel'koz can be. So yeah, Vel'koz is just, you know, consuming knowledge, gaining knowledge from all these people. Apparently it was just an outpost randomly on the edge of Noxus here. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to go on here other than, you know, I want to learn more about Vel'koz. Hopefully we learn more in his wiki, as well as maybe from like the gameplay abilities here, and especially from the voice lines. All right, we're going to check out the first teaser for Vel'koz. It is actually uploaded in 2014, so it is very old, but let's check it out. I'm curious what they cooked up here. Ooh. Okay. Oh, a laser beam?
As do I.
Oh, that's such a cool intro. Oh, there he is, just like in the face trying to take off that left eye, huh? Very cool.
Thank you for your contribution.
Wow. Okay, Vel'koz is a scary guy. All right, I love that. That's actually such a fun teaser and such a great way of introducing. Now, you guys have to let me know, like, is this the first Voidborn champion that was added into the game? Let me know in the comments. All right, guys, here we go. We are looking at Vel'koz's gameplay abilities. The gameplay overview obviously was a little old, so I wanted to just look at the website. Role is mage/support, and difficulty is high. All right, so let's start off with his passive. It is called Organic Deconstruction. Let me just look at the video here. Ooh, it literally is like an eye, like slit, basically. Vel'koz's abilities apply organic deconstruction to enemies on hit. If 3 stacks are accumulated, the enemy will take a burst of true damage. Okay, so just some true damage. He has Plasma Fission is his Q. Oh, it goes sideways. Vel'koz shoots a bolt of plasma that splits in 2 on reactivation or upon hitting an enemy. The bolt slows and damages on hit. Okay, so it looks like on reactivation, so you can actually kind of control it. Okay, so here's the actual eye ability that we saw in the passive. It's called Void Rift. Vel'koz opens a rift to the void that deals an initial burst of damage, then explodes for a second burst of damage after a delay. I feel like that's like kind of a small, I mean, it's in a straight line and it goes pretty far, it seems like, but it's also like kind of a smaller area for that straight line. You guys have to let me know if that Void Rift ability is pretty good. Next is Tectonic Disruption. Okay, so we got a little AoE. Vel'koz causes an area to explode, knocking up enemies and knocking close enemies slightly away. And last but not least is Lifeform Disintegration Ray. Oh, that's such a cool ultimate. Just a giant laser. Okay, Vel'koz unleashes a channel beam that follows the cursor for 2.5 seconds that deals magic damage. Organic Deconstruction researches enemy champions, causing them to take true damage instead. Oh, okay, so literally because of the passive, you learn the knowledge to do true damage. That's such a cool like lore thing too. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I feel like he has the typical mage abilities, right? You have your typical like, I don't know, like mage fireball ability. Then you got kind of like the Void Rift is maybe like the unique thing about him. Then you have kind of your typical AoE. And then, yeah, of course, the ultimate as well, just being a giant laser beam is pretty unique as well, which just is perfect for his eyes, right? And his tentacles. Like that all works really, really well together. All right, you guys definitely have to hop in the comments. Let me know how Vel'koz is in the current meta. Is he pretty good? Was he very powerful when he first came out? How is he in today's game? All right, so we have a little teaser that I don't recall exactly because it's been a while since we did Bel'Veth's reaction, but it's called Bel'Veth's Warning. It's a champion teaser for Bel'Veth, but Vel'koz is featured in this, so let's watch it. I do remember Bel'Veth's character, of course. There he is. Your watchers, okay.
And I will remake all of Runeterra.
Okay. Vel'koz wails. Okay, so the idea I'm getting here is that there's a little bit of a civil war-ish going on with Bel'Veth and Vel'koz there. So obviously, yeah, Bel'Veth not a good person either, but not on the same side of Vel'koz as Voidborn and the Watchers. So she's doing her own thing. That's the idea I remember getting of Bel'Veth. So, okay, so we kind of have a villain to Vel'koz that is probably just as strong as Vel'koz, if not stronger. She's basically somebody that's against the Watchers is what it seems like to me, because she literally specifically says your Watchers. What does she say? Your Watchers are incapable of understanding, meaning maybe Vel'koz has a lot of trust in the Watchers and she's like, I don't believe the Watchers, or I'm not trusting them. So, okay, very interesting. You guys let me know more in the comments about this little teaser actually for Bel'Veth, but that includes Vel'koz. All right, we have just like a little, I guess they used to do skin trailers back in the day. So this is an old skin trailer for Battlecast Vel'koz. Let's just take a look. It's only a minute long. This might be a blast from the past for some of you. Oh, you know what Battlecast Vel'koz gives me? It reminds me of those the things in the Matrix. I forget what they were called. But yeah, super looks, I mean, almost looks exactly like the things from the Matrix. I'll put it on the screen. They even have like multiple eyes on them too. Oh, the laser beam like that looked cool. Ooh, okay. Oh. Okay, I did not expect that. Oh, the old Riot logo. Look at that. All right, moving on. You know what? I'm going to be kind of honest. I am surprised Vel'koz has a login screen because there are some people, some very popular champions or champions that I really liked that are about as old as Vel'koz that don't have login screens. So I'm just saying. But anyways, I am happy he has a login screen. Let's check this out. It is 2.5 minutes long. Yeah, here we go. I mean, I'm going to expect menacing, villainous kind of music. He's a pretty scary guy. Okay. Oh. Interesting sound here. Honestly, not what I expected. It's almost got like a rock song element to it. Oh, there's some like weird sound effects going on though. Now see, that's almost like techno a little bit, which is maybe what I expected. Okay, there we go. That melody in the background, giving it that villainous kind of theme. I'm literally entranced by this dude just like waving his tentacles around. I don't know why. Oh, a little dubstep in there. I mean, it was 11 years ago, to be fair. Oh yeah, some dubstep-y elements for sure. Listen, I know people still listen to it. But it was big like 11 years ago, I think. Okay, yeah, this is more what I expected. Now that we have all of the elements going on with the song, like, you know, it just gives kind of menacing vibes, right? The build-up. Almost like a robotic sound effects there, too. I don't know if that's what they were going with, but... Okay. And then it just fades away. All right, yo, that was, I mean, I think it fits Vel'koz pretty well. I thought it would be some sort of menacing, kind of villainous kind of music, and I think that's what we really got towards the end of it. I think it started off just a little bit slow, and then was kind of like, I was like, oh, okay, some like rock song elements going on in here. And then they added all of the additional like weird warbling sound effects and almost some like dubsteppy stuff in there. And I think it fully came to fruition, and we finally got our Vel'koz login screen towards like the second half of the song. All right, that was pretty decent. You guys let me know what you think of the login screen in the comments. All right, guys, we're doing something a little bit different this time. We're actually going to take a look at a video that showcases all of the skins for Vel'koz, and I did make sure that we had all the way up to 2023. So we're just going to go through these. It looks like there's only 6 skins here. Obviously, we have the original design for Vel'koz as well, but we're going to go through this and just take a look at these, and I'll pick my favorite one, you know, including the original skin as well out of these skins. But yeah, let's see. Do we get like a little bit of more animation stuff here? What else am I going to get in this video? It looks like we're starting off with the Vel'koz, which we've seen some bee skins. See, the nice thing about having a video is, of course, I do get to see some of the animations and stuff. Like the bee eye literally pops out. Okay. All right, Vel'koz is already adorable, especially because we obviously have a skin that is for... It's kind of like a more happy skin that is for kind of like a scary character. Okay, we're getting to see like how the tentacles work and everything via attacks. The range is pretty far. Okay, I'm really loving the bees. The bees are pretty cool. The honey ability there too is really cool. I didn't realize how much they put into the animation for these bee skins. Okay. Okay, pretty cool. All right, next up we have the Black Frost Vel'koz. Let's take a look. Splash art's cool. Oh, it's more blue than I thought it would be. Splash art makes it... I guess the splash art's blue too, but... Okay. The tentacles are kind of scary looking. Ooh, okay. I kind of like the mixture of like the blue, the whites, and like the blacks together. Like you can see like the tip of the tentacles are white. Same with the attacks and everything. Okay. The animation's pretty cool. Ooh, the laser beam looks really good, actually. I think I might like the laser beam on this one better than Vel'koz. All right, next up we have Infernal Vel'koz. Let's take a look. That's a pretty cool splash art as well. Oh, it looks like he has chains. Yeah, the chains are on fire too. That's really cool. I have liked some Infernal skins in the past. That's for sure. Let's see. Let me see the abilities. Okay, kind of like a typical like fireball ability a little bit. Okay, that looks cool. Let me see the lasers. The laser's just going to be like an orange flame kind of deal. AoE is pretty good. Okay, it's got like... It's more like a laser beam still. It's got like the blacks around the edges of it, and it just feels like a laser beam for sure. Okay, I like that one quite a bit. Next up is definitely not Vel'koz skin. Now, what is this? Let's see. I don't even see Vel'koz in this. Oh, over here? You are kidding me. So wait a minute. He put on clothes, including on his tentacles. He put on a disguise. This is ridiculous. And is he holding a coffee mug and also has a watch on one tentacle? Okay, I give it points for the humor of it. Ability-wise, it's kind of... I mean, it's going with his theme of like the purples and the blacks. Laser beam looks really good. I don't know what the normal Vel'koz actually looks like when it comes to its abilities, though. But, okay. That's a really funny one. I do like that about it. All right, next up is Arclight Vel'koz. Kind of looks like a probe from StarCraft. Let's see what it looks like in the game, though. Oh, yeah, I kind of see that. The tentacles, though, being all this, like, super glowy, goldish yellow is cool, though. I think we've seen some Arclight skins in the past. Ooh. I kind of like the sound effects with this one. It's almost like the same sound effects when you're, like, queuing for a TFT match. Or I guess a league match, too. Okay. I like the laser beam. It's pretty cool. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't know if that one's my favorite, but I do like the gold aspect of it, of course. All right, last but not least. Oh, it's Battlecast Vel'koz. Okay, which we have seen already. We do know that it also has... this is the one that I assumed kind of looks like the thing from the Matrix. But, of course, we have seen some other Battlecast skins in the past. But, yeah, it still just reminds me of the things from the Matrix. Oh, it shoots missiles. Okay, and then, like, fire comes out. Cool. That one's okay. That ability looks alright. I like the missiles. Explosions. What's the laser beam gonna look like on this one? Oh. A little close to the Infernal one. Different sound effect for sure. And a little bit like of a darker orange, maybe. Almost even red. All right, those are going to be all the skins here. Now, obviously, I'm not looking at the chromas or anything for these skins, but I think looking at the abilities and seeing how they look might be a little bit of a better indication than perhaps the chromas. But you guys definitely leave me some feedback if you guys want me to continue doing what I've did previously, where I looked at them all in the wiki and just looked at their chromas and their 3D models, or do you guys like this idea of actually seeing them in the game and seeing their animations and things like that? To be honest with you guys, I think my favorite skin has to be the Vel'koz. Now, Vel'koz is kind of a cutesy version of Vel'koz, which, you know, if you don't want your Vel'koz to look kind of like a cutesy little guy, then I would probably choose Infernal Vel'koz, I think. But Vel'koz, along with all of its like honeycomb animations, all of the little cute animations, like even the bee popping out of the eye, all of that stuff was really, really fun. I just like the look of Vel'koz as well. I think it's really, really good. That's definitely going to be my favorite skin out of all of these. And you guys will have to let me know in the comments what your favorite skin is for Vel'koz. All right, I'm still going to check out the trivia though from the wiki. Let's see what we have. Vel'koz has pi, so 3.14, attack damage growth, and uses trigonometry to land plasma fission. Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know Vel'koz was into math. Vel'koz's taunt is Schrodinger's equation written in visitor language from V by Kenneth Johnson. Okay, so, this is making sense because Vel'koz is obviously gaining knowledge from just the mortal material world, and he's just using that stuff. Okay. Vel'koz is based on the oculothorax archetype, with one of these in particular, Shumagorath from Marvel Comics. Okay, Shumagorath, we actually, I think, was in like the Doctor Strange movie, if I'm not mistaken. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Used as the basis for the life form disintegration ray. Okay, I guess I'll pop up Shumagorath on screen as well. All right, Vel'koz's personality might have been based on the immoral Decepticon scientist Shockwave from the Transformers franchise. Shockwave's head consists mostly of his single glaring eye, which might have also inspired Vel'koz. Okay, so possible like multiple iterations or like possible multiple ways that like Vel'koz was influenced here. Vel'koz had his game assets reused for several featured game modes. He was given a retexture and features as a monster called the Shooty Eyeball Monster, along with its huge variant in Invasion. His animations were reused for the Land Squid and Squid Tooth monsters in Odyssey Extraction. Lifeform Disintegration Ray is the longest ability name at 28 characters long. Oh, okay. For contrast, it is longer than Hop, the shortest ability name at 3 characters long by 25 characters. Yeah, okay. And then Vel'koz's blue essence cost is 1618, a reference to the golden ratio. I have no idea what the golden ratio is. Okay. A lot of, a lot of stuff in here, you know, related to basically like knowledge that Vel'koz has gained from us, right? All right, let's move on to the wiki and see what else we can learn about this guy. All right, taking a look at Vel'koz's wiki. Let's see, timeline, it says born 8,000 BN, 6,000 BN. Weapons are void energy, status alive, family, the Watchers. Okay, let's start off with the origin. So one of the first Voidborn created by the hands of the Watchers, who has been known by many names, but the ancient Shuri'mans named it Vel'koz, or to understand by unmaking. Vel'koz was created to watch, listen, and learn from the living so the Watchers could know best how to destroy them. And so Vel'koz did, silently observing the various landscapes of Runeterra, watching as civilizations rise and fall. Now and again, it travels back through the great rifts in the fabric of Runeterra back into the void to relay everything it has seen before promptly returning back to the goal of its existence. But to understand sometimes requires unmaking. Vel'koz often leaves towns empty with no sign of struggles except for the withered husks of its former residents, with a distinct dark pit where their left eye would be, a wound left by Vel'koz's devouring of knowledge. We have the destruction of Tokagal, so fairly recently Vel'koz has been sighted in the region of Tokagal where it destroyed the region's namesake village. Alright, and then moving on, we have appearance. Vel'koz is a floating, otherworldly creature composed almost entirely of 3 tentacles and a single massive eye. His central eye is a glowing violet orb with a dark cat-like pupil, though he also seems to have 3 smaller eyes protruding from stalks. His tentacles are dark turquoise at the base, fading into bright violet at the tips. He wears a pale golden armor over his frame. Alright, personality. As a Voidborn, Vel'koz is shown to be extremely dispassionate towards the denizens of Runeterra, that's for sure. He has 0 empathy for the people he studies and executes his tasks with cold and calculated efficiency. However, unlike other Voidborn, Vel'koz is not obsessed with destruction or consuming the world around him, but instead to observe and collect information about the world of Runeterra. Okay, so that is a big difference for sure. This puts his seemingly cruel approach in a different light, as it appears his experiments are born solely out of curiosity. To that end, accumulating knowledge seems to be his only drive, and he does this by annihilating the subjects of his study. Okay, so we do have some abilities here, obviously starting off with Voidborn. Since he's a Voidborn, a being birthed from the void to enter the material realm, because the void possesses different laws of reality, Voidborn have to create new bodies from the matter of Runeterra. We have knowledge absorption. Vel'koz can absorb the knowledge of other living beings by inserting one of his tentacles inside of them. By absorbing the knowledge of other living beings, he leaves them as nothing more than withered husks. Void energy emission. Vel'koz can emit powerful beams of void energy from both his tentacles and his eye. He can control the intensity of these beams from small surgical cuts to massive blasts of destructive power. We have levitation. He generally moves by floating above the ground. And then the tentacles. He can use the tentacles to smash, grip, and crush foes, as well as project void energy. In our only relationship, it looks like we have a couple here. So humans, it says Kassadin seeks to keep the Voidborn from crossing over to Runeterra, right? We did a reaction to Kassadin, go check that out. And thus is his enemy and a nice research subject. Malzahar, on the other hand, seeks to facilitate the crossing and thus is his ally. Vel'koz is no stranger to killing other Voidborn who might destroy his research materials, though. All right, we haven't done our reaction to Malzahar yet, but I mean, yeah, this all makes sense. Of course, he would want knowledge from Kassadin for sure, and Malzahar is kind of an ally at this point. All right, we have some trivia. So Vel'koz's lore is the first to be told in first person. Interesting. Vel'koz's purpose is to gain knowledge on Runeterra through disintegration. Vel'koz's eyes can be removed from his body. The largest can even fly, as seen when he dies. Okay, so that's a little animation when he dies. We did see that when we looked at the Biography skin. Eyeballing similarities between Vel'koz and the Frozen Watchers lead credence to the idea they might be related. The specifics are uncertain, but they imply the veil between Runeterra and the Void shattering in the Freljord, and members of Vel'koz's Voidborn species crossing into the Frozen Realm. Adaptation, seeing as the Voidborn that Diana fought turned purple from pale after being exposed to Runeterra's atmosphere, was the key to their evolution, and the need for Iceborn subjects and a subsequent empire to conduct mass research on the world they landed in, much like Vel'koz is doing at the present. Okay, so a little Diana connection there. According to his recently updated lore, Vel'koz may be the oldest surviving Voidborn, whose ancient Shuri'man name Vel'koz roughly means to understand by unmaking in modern Shurima. Okay, so I guess that was a little bit of an update lore. I didn't know that. I don't know what his old lore was, obviously. We did learn a little bit more about Vel'koz here. I mean, I think I get the full story of Vel'koz after everything we've, even though we don't have too many trailers of him, I think I pretty much get the gist of him. I'm interested to hear these voice lines for him, though, to see if we can gain some more knowledge about Vel'koz. So I'm excited to get into these. Here we go. All right, last but not least, everybody, we have our boy Vel'koz's voice lines, special interactions, all that fun stuff in League of Legends. It looks like there are additional versions of the voice lines for Battlecast and Arclight. Let's start off with our pick sound effect. Okay, I'm getting a laser beam sound.
Knowledge through disintegration.
That is his whole thing. Yep. And then ban.
That's unexpected.
Okay. All right, let's run through these. We're starting off with his moving voice lines.
My presence causes them distress.
Yeah.
A land rich with information. What else can I discover?
Okay.
The light here is harsh.
That's kind of a fun one. Having a giant eyeball like that would make sense that light would kind of be bright in some cases.
To date, none have survived preliminary testing.
So basically nobody has survived being probed in their left eye.
High concentration of subjects. Wonderful. Extraordinary.
Probably says that every time he gains knowledge about something.
Such fascinating evolution. The pattern is clear. Creatures mewling increases during dissection.
Well, yeah.
Humans, simple, messy, yet exceptional.
Okay, at least Vel'koz will say we are still at least exceptional in his eye. You know what I'm saying? In Vel'koz's eyes, even we are exceptional. So, you know what? I think we thumbs up for humans, you know? All right, next.
There is much to learn about this world. Odd creatures of blood and flesh. I miss the darkness of the void.
Okay, having a giant eye, he doesn't like the light. He probably doesn't like the sun. Misses the darkness, okay.
That's unexpected. Ah, the void. I miss the darkness.
Okay, same thing.
Genders are more easily discerned by the pitch of their cries.
Oh, that's kind of a crazy voice line if you really think about it.
Endoskeletal, quite peculiar. Human melting point remains inconsistent.
Melting point, excuse me? We're talking about that laser beam, huh? All right, moving on to the taunt. Vel'koz points to a holographic board and writes down an equation. This dude really loves math, huh?
It seems your chances of survival are less than 0. Let's see. Yes, infinity more samples required.
All right. Moving on to his jokes, I'm afraid of these. Vel'koz expels his plasma orbs from his body and delightedly juggles them before tossing them back in. Okay.
Replicating life form entertainment routine.
Okay, so replicating juggling. Got it. I mean, if you have 3 tentacles like that, I guess I would try to do the same.
Research requires good tentacle eye coordination.
All right. Now he's making fun of us. He's making fun of our terminology. Vel'koz hums triumphantly. I assume he's just while he's juggling. Okay, let's move on to Vel'koz's laughs. I have no idea what to expect here. Okay. Ew, that one's kind of a weird one. Okay. All right, now we're moving on to the attacking voice lines quite a bit here, so here we go.
Let's see what they're made of. Ah, another entity of value.
Another entity of value. I'm wondering how he determines, I mean, if he just sees a pack of humans, does he just assume they're going to have new knowledge for him? I feel like eventually he's just going to run into people that's just going to give him kind of the same knowledge, right? And then I also wonder if he's doing this to animals or creatures or beasts as well.
When bisected, neither half grows back. Intriguing reaction to pain. You may experience mild incineration.
He's almost giving kind of like a mad scientist who's experimenting on humans a little bit.
What secrets are you hiding? Thank you for your contribution.
That's a good voice line.
Bones are surprisingly inflexible.
Inflexible, yeah.
Their skins appear non-transferable.
What do you mean their skins appear non-transferable? Huh? Wait, huh? That sounds awful.
Have they ceased to evolve?
Probably.
This is a fragile species. Their appendages seem redundant. Tears appear to serve no function.
That's not true. Okay.
These creatures really can be repulsive.
That's true, though.
Are no organs safely removable? They possess a variety of internal aromas.
Internal aromas.
I find their elbows obscene.
Their elbows? Okay. Can you guys lick your elbow, by the way? I can't.
I acknowledge your pain. I must know more. Creature appears to seek its maternal unit.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm sure that's happened once or twice while he's extracting knowledge.
I require a closer look.
That's actually a really clever voice line, I will say.
Flailing appears to be a universal response.
Well, what else do you want us to do when you're poking our left eye out, man? All right, and then we have his death sounds, I guess. Oh. Oh. Oh, these sound awful. Oh, jeez. That is so bad. Sounds like he's got like strep throat or something. All right, the only trivia there is Vel'koz shares a quote with, let's see what they're made of, with Rengar. Okay. All right, you know, a decent amount of voice lines. Of course, I would love to have some interactions with Vel'koz and say, I don't know, Kassadin, Malzahar, any of the other Void people, Bel'Veth, right? Like, where's our interactions with Bel'Veth? Anybody from the Voidborn, that would make sense, right? Hopefully, we'll get those in the future. All right, I thought there was some pretty fun voice lines in here, kind of like the play on words a little bit, stuff like, you know, the light here is harsh, obviously coming from the Void area where it's literally just all darkness, and then coming to the material world where it's super bright, and then obviously just, you know, light in your eyeball can be very bright sometimes. Stuff like the human melting point remains inconsistent, just kind of like his notations on humans as he's like extracting information from them. He's kind of like seeing a pattern amongst the people. It's kind of like a fun, I think they're kind of like interesting voice lines in that regard. I think some of the attacking voice lines were pretty fun. Their appendages seem pretty redundant. I find their elbows obscene, probably just because he doesn't have elbows, right? I think he's probably just jealous, to be honest with you. You know, I think I require a closer look is just like a really good written voice line. And then, yeah, so I think they did a pretty good job with these initial voice lines for Vel'koz. I, of course, would love to learn more about Vel'koz and the Void. And, you know, the Void is just another one of those, like I've said in past reactions, the Void is one of those recurring threats to the world of Runeterra. We have many, many threats to the world of Runeterra, but the Void, the Watchers, all going to be a constant thing there. But I feel like we haven't really gotten much in terms of the Void stuff from Riot in a little while. And I'm hoping maybe like, you know, because we got the Ruination event not too long ago, maybe we'll get some sort of major event with the Void in the near future. I mean, they have to do something like that at some point, right? You would think, like the Voidborn and all the Void and all that stuff, Acacia, like that's all pretty important stuff in the world of Runeterra. So they have to like do something with it at some point. That's the hope anyways. And I think Vel'koz, being, you know, one of the original, if not the original Voidborn, is going to play an important role in that. Now, knowing about Vel'koz and just like his ultimate goal of just wanting to learn about the material world and humans and everything to give information to the Void and the Watchers, I think he's obviously got to play a pivotal role in the future. I honestly went into this super blind. I didn't know anything about Vel'koz, and I came out pleasantly surprised because I think he's a pretty interesting character. And I didn't know we had this kind of character in the world of Runeterra where he's literally going around poking everybody's eye out and just gathering information. For some reason, I wanted to think of Nasus a little bit because, you know, Nasus was so about just gaining knowledge, reading books, and just like gaining as much knowledge as possible. So I guess my initial like connection went to Nasus just a little bit. But yeah, Vel'koz is obviously doing this in a much harsher and a much more evil sense of what he's trying to extract from us in terms of information and what he's using it for. In terms of where Vel'koz could go in the future, you know, eventually the Watchers and all that stuff could be pushed forward lore-wise, and, you know, Vel'koz has all this information about us, and they're going to use that to their advantage, that's for sure. I don't really see what... Oh, I guess the other thing that could happen to Vel'koz in the future is obviously this whole thing with Bel'Veth that we got from the little teaser we watched. Clearly, Bel'Veth is doing her own thing, and it's not what Vel'koz or the Watchers obviously would want. So maybe a little bit of some rumblings between Bel'Veth and Vel'koz could be in the future. That would be pretty interesting. Or maybe like Vel'koz, Kassadin, Malzahar, maybe some stuff there as well could be a possibility. I want to hear from you guys though in the comments, anything that you maybe want to see from Vel'koz in the future. What's your guys' overall thoughts of Vel'koz? I think he's been in the game for a long time as well, almost like 11 years or so. So yeah, you guys have to have like some stories or some more knowledge to drop for me on Vel'koz in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. All right, guys, please do, of course, leave a comment letting me know who I should react to next. I know I've gotten a couple of comments in the past and written some of those down. So we're going to be writing those down and continuing to do these until I do every single League of Legends champion at some point. Please do leave a thumbs up on the video, guys. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you do not already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.